Jake Paul has promised to beat the bleeping F out of Conor McGregor. Where is he going to do this? Conor McGregor fights in the UFC. Jake's not in the UFC. Conor McGregor fights up to 170 pounds. I don't think Jake's ever been to 170 pounds. I mean, I'm just asking, for example, where does that happen? I also, by the way, I think Jake can get to the UFC. I think they would sign Jake. To sign Jake, who's 0-0 in MMA, and get any commission to put him in there with the former champion of the world, it's a stretch for me. So I'm just asking, where's he going to do this? Where's they going to fight? Where's he going to beat the F and bleep out of him? And I like Jake. You guys know I like Jake. There's a similarity to Conor McGregor and Wanderlei Silva. And that I don't like, which is, there was a period of time. Wanderlei Silva was the most frightening person in the world. Not only was he the best, not only was he going to whip you, it was frightening that you were going to have to get in there with him. Fans that were watching were frightened at what they were about to see. It is where he earned the moniker Axe Murder. He didn't give it to himself like most guys nickname him, right? He had this one assigned to him accurately. And I will just tell you, there was a massive period of time. And he was the biggest draw, and he was the highest paid, and he was the champion, and he was the main event. Everything that you ever dreamed of being, all of it is encompassed in one person named Wanderlei Silva. And if you go back to that time, nobody called him out. And I do mean nobody. Zero. So, when you fast forward, and Wanderlei, turns out he loves the sport, he just wants to stay in it. He wants to be part. There comes a time where all of a sudden guys started calling him out, and those guys are trying to call him out, showing, look how brave I am, and look how tough I am. Well, you were here when he was here. You were here 3 years ago when he was here. Why didn't you call him out 3 years ago? And there's an answer. The answer is because he would have killed you. The answer is because you were scared. The answer is because you didn't want to fight him. Well, why do you want to fight him now? Why all of a sudden now have you found your balls? Where were they? And I only bring you that historical story of Wanderlei Silva's career. Conor McGregor stopped Jose Aldo 13 seconds. Said he'd fight anybody. Nobody believed him. So they kept talking trash about him. And then he bumped up to 155 and fought anybody. Became the champion there. Kept saying he'd fight anybody. Guys kept doing this. They didn't challenge him. They weren't in his weight class. They weren't trying to fight him. There were other guys that didn't think he would actually move up. Or actually, in Floyd Mayweather's case, they didn't think that he would change sports completely. But he did. People started seeing this. And they started to believe what he said. And if you go back to that time frame, Conor McGregor was called out by nobody. Nobody. If you think you're going to tell me, Chael, you're wrong. Haven't you ever seen Who the Fook Is That? Just for example, well, I'm going to stand by what I said. I remember RDA. I remember plenty of guys who are very good, who I respect. Of course I do. But they asked to fight Conor McGregor, and asking to have the Conor fight is not in the same category as calling him out. What Jake Paul did today is call him out. Said, I'm going to beat the bleeping bleep out of him. There was a period of Conor's career where he was untouchable. Nobody said that. Nobody said they were going to beat the bleep out of him. Nobody said that they could beat him. Nobody said that's rightfully their title. Nobody said any of those things. Many people said I would like the fight because Red Panty Night was a very real thing. But I'm just sharing for you to hear today that you're going to beat the bleeping bleep out of a guy who, the last time I saw him in a competitive ring, aside from facing off drunk against Mike Perry, was moments before I saw him put on a gurney, put in an ambulance, and rush to the hospital because his leg was broken in half. I mean, it's just one of these things. What am I supposed to get out of that? You're going to beat the blank out of Conor McGregor. When? Where? How? How? Are you going to do it in the streets? You're not going to do it in the octagon. We understand that. You're not going to do it in the promotion that you do because Conor's over in this promotion. You're saying you're going to do MMA, and that's allegedly going to be in the PFL, and I believe you, by the way, but that's not where Conor's going to be, so then that leads you to the streets. I'm not against it. Maybe it's the streets. I don't like that barbaric stuff myself, but if this is what you're saying, I want to pay attention. The problem is, the last time I saw you in the streets with a guy that Conor stood with for 30 minutes, you turned and ran. I'm not looking to be a dick about it at all. I think your feet are a great self-defense, man. If you can just get out of there, get out of there. I'm not against it, but I'm saying, there you were with Floyd, who Conor beat up for 30 minutes. And you ran from him, so we have a common opponent. Even in this make-believe land, I'm going to be... We have a common opponent. The common opponent was Floyd. And when Floyd stepped to Conor, he got beat up for 30 minutes. And when Floyd stepped to you, you turn around. But I'm just saying, let's tell the story fair. Let's just tell this is what happened. That's okay. Got a big fight coming up. It's Nate Diaz. Got a lot of money, a lot of action, a lot of momentum out there. But if we don't have a reasonable play, right? If you're trying to pursue a fight, my God, have at it. But if we don't have a reasonable expectation, because the sports are not the same, the weight classes have never matched, and the exclusivity to the contracts of the organizations do not align. How about, hell, that changes, we take Conor's name out of our mouths.